We all know what a minefield dating in this day and age. And I think as a woman, you've got a specific set of challenges. And often it comes down to our past, how we've been brought up, what we've been taught to believe about our self-worth, what we've been taught about how to respond and what our place is in society, and so on and so forth. There's so much to navigate, so many beliefs, so many traditions, so many self-inflicted repetitions that have caused us to feel and think a certain way. So we're going to unpack some of this and more here on the Feeling Inspired podcast today, sponsored by Spark Conversations cards, a pack of cards that I invented that have questions on there that you can use, whether it be for dating or any other. You can take it into the boardroom. You can use it between you and your friends when you're going away on holiday. It's a great way just to initiate great deeper conversations that go beyond the, hey, how are you? The usual kind of stuff. And today's guest is second time as well, Rowan from Meraki Movement and Man Again Method. How you doing, dude?
Yeah, amazing.
It's good to have you back.
Yeah, thanks for having me back.
He just snuck in. I didn't even invite him. He's like, I'm on. I don't care, dude. I don't care. It's all good. It's all good. We had a great weekend though, didn't we? Because you came to the Date My Single Mate, and then you came to the singles event I had on the weekend as well, one of my ones. Yeah. And we had a good laugh, and we'll talk about that in a minute as well. Yeah, he was actually there as a bit of a matchmaker for other people. I was like, what about you?
I always bring my clients to your events only because I know that it's like the best place to be. They're going to feel safe, meet some great people. So always, of course.
Oh yeah, hell yeah. All right, as always, the tradition, we're going to get you to pick 3 cards. I'm going to ask you one or all 3 of these. I find we get so many repetitions. So let's see if we can. All right, take another 2.
I feel like you're like thumbing me one. There's a plant card in there.
I swear
He's pushing it on me. Look.
There we go. Right, okay, cool. Right, you can pass them to me, and let's see if I can choose one or all 3, depending on what they are. Oh yeah, that's a good one. Actually, these are all good. Right, okay, cool. I'm going to start with this one though. When is your birthday, by the way?
October 11th.
11th, right? Okay, cool. So coming up, how would you spend your birthday if money was no object?
Oof. If money was no object, It would be Mykonos, and it would be the most expensive room in Kensho Hotel, and it would be hiring the biggest yacht in Mykonos, and it would be spending the day fishing with loads of champagne and beer, and a little barbecue. That'd be it.
Nice.
Like the biggest yacht. Yeah.
Nice, I like it.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you didn't go like even more like blowout as well. Why Mykonos though, of all places?
Mykonos, I just love the kind of like, it's very chilled.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like when I go on a holiday, there's 2 places I love, Mykonos and Goa, and it's just the energy. I can't even articulate it. It's the energy of the place, the surroundings, the beach, the people. And so for me, holidays for me is all about where can I find the most amount of peace.
Sweet. I like it.
I'm not very materialistic. So for me, it's like, if I can go somewhere and it really gets me into a beautiful state, then that's a place to go. And I've never been on a huge yacht before. So that's got to be the one that's on the bucket list.
Nice. I saw something on Instagram recently. It was a content creator, and she posted about a particular one of the particular islands in the Maldives, and it's an adult-only resort, and the villas and everything just looked amazing, and they had slides down straight into the ocean and stuff like that, each villa, and it just looked phenomenal. And the obviously the locals and everything, how they treat you when you arrive, and I was like, oh. Tell you what, well, to be honest, it's on the cards anyway, but let's see. It'd be great if money was no object. I'd 100% do it. All right, tell me about something that's happened to you that has totally changed your life.
Oof, totally changed my life.
Yeah.
It's got to be The Secret, the book, The Secret.
Nice.
That book completely changed my life. But yeah, so I was a very negative person. And it's interesting because it's some of the stuff we'll be talking about today.
Yeah.
And I learned it from my dad. And so for me, everything was always worst case scenario. Don't do this because of X, Y, Z. And of course, it affected my whole direction of life. And so when I read The Secret, and of course I didn't want to read The Secret because I thought it was a bunch of nonsense, right? Of course I would. But I was kind of forced.
Of course you would.
Because I was such a negative person, right? Okay. I thought it was just, this is just, a bunch of nonsense. But when I actually read it, because I was forced to read it, and I was addicted by, I think, page 5, and I read it the whole night. And I was working had to leave my house at 4 a.m. the next day, and I'd literally got home from work at 12. So I'd run on 4 to 5 hours sleep back then, and I didn't even sleep. And I was doing PT at the time, and had 14 back-to-back sessions all week. And I was like, I just love this book. And I didn't sleep for 2 nights. I loved it so much, and it just changed my life. It was a complete like fork in the road, changed my life, become a completely different person. So yeah, that would be the biggest change for me.
Nice. Yeah. Funny story about The Secret, right? So I watched the video when it really first came out, and I'm talking about when it was way before it was viral, and because you actually had to go onto their website and buy it as well when it first came out, right? So I found out about it from a couple of American bloggers that I was friends with, and then I saw it, and same impact, right? It had a huge impact on me. So I started telling it, I put it all over my blog, and then it blew up in the UK as well. So I kind of take a little bit of credit for it going crazy in the UK and stuff. But I did, I know, because everyone was like, when I traced it back, everyone was saying they've heard from this person, that person. Yeah, genuinely. And I had it on my blog, literally, and it was, then it just went absolutely mental after that as well. So I think it was 2007. don't think the book came out till a couple of years later as well. So it was quite a long time before that as well. And, but yeah, so it was, it had a huge impact on me as well, actually. But yeah, no, good answer. I like that one. And your final question from the Spark Conversations cards promo.
So far I've been lucky.
Yeah. I had this the other day as well, but I've got to ask. It's a great one anyway. If you were granted any superpower, what would it be and why?
Well, I would say the ability to read people's minds, but I'm pretty good at that anyway.
We talked about this the other day with one of my other guests. Yeah, and
to have clarity on that, to be able to, I think. For human beings, I think the biggest thing from relationships to countries to wars to everything is communication. And I think be able to actually read someone's mind and know where they are, meet them at that level would be phenomenal.
We were talking about this, right? And someone put in a really good caveat. And I can't remember if it was one of the guests from the recent episodes I filmed, but we were talking about this. He goes, the person who answered it though said the same thing, but they said, but whenever I choose to. Not all the time, because it got me thinking of the film What Women Want. Have you ever seen that? Yeah. You don't want it on all the time, do you? So,
that's it.
So yeah, that's a great answer though. I like that one. Yeah, it's always that, usually that, invisibility, flying, or super strength.
Yeah, I think it would end a lot of suffering around the world if we were able to really understand people.
Yeah.
And it's, people have. It goes back to, again, what we're talking about today, topical. People have blocks. People's ability to communicate and say how they feel and what they're really feeling, or even just articulate that, is since the dawn of time, it's humanity, right?
Yeah. Do you know? You raised such a good point, right? And kind of talked about this. I touched on it slightly at the event the other day, but I talked about it a lot recently. There's a fabulous quote by Rumi, and I love this one. It's that between what is said and not meant, and what is meant and not said, most of love is lost.
Yes.
And it's so true. And I think that even the other day, right, I don't want to kind of like character shame anyone or anything like that, but I was just on the paddle court yesterday. 2 lovely ladies, I think they were both single. And then one of the ladies just happened to say, I think I've seen you somewhere before. And then obviously that's always the perfect drop for me as well. Well, I'm in soda.
I'm the love coach.
Yeah.
The love doctor.
That's it. And then obviously I just briefly mentioned while we're rallying on court. And the girl opposite me was very receptive to what I was saying. And she was like, all right, cool. If you can help me, if you say you can help me find someone, great, let's do it. The one to my left was very, again, we had this conversation the other day, very closed off to, was like, if it comes to me, great. If I'm not going to go out looking for it.
Yeah.
And whilst there is some wisdom in that, it's the way you go out looking for it. I understand where she's coming from and why she's come to this conclusion. But it's that, but there was something within her that was quite closed off. And you just, you start to think that how much, what's there that's closed you off? Is it a bit of ego that I don't need someone? I don't need to go out looking for it. It'll come to me. Like what's the underpinning reason that this is part of someone's psyche? But, and the event that we had as well, right? I mentioned this at a previous event as well. We all kind of just don't go in and say what we want. 100%. And it's, or we're not communicating and saying what we truly want. Yeah. We can sometimes say what we think the other person wants, or we end up saying things that have just originated from ego, from hurt, because we've been in this position before. You've got to be this, otherwise it's never going to go anywhere.
Yeah, because it's such an interesting point, because I hear it all the time in my life coaching as well, and going to the events as well. is a lot of people say, I'm not looking for anything. And it's kind of like this. Would you you wanted to get some, I don't know, some milk, right, for breakfast. Would you go to the shops and go, I'm not really looking for anything. I want milk. I'm going to the shops. Maybe they'll have some milk. Maybe they won't. But that's what I'm going where, to the shops. If they didn't have it in Waitrose, then I'd go to Tesco's, then I'd go to Aldi. But the intention is there. So for many people who say, I'm not, really looking for it, but I'm kind of open. It's like, I see it as you're standing behind a closed door. You've got to open the door. And then the next question I would ask is, why do you have a perspective that I'm really not looking for it, or, I'm just going and seeing what happens? Well, what if you said the opposite? Let's say the event on Saturday where one person would be, I'm totally going to find someone. Before they even speak to someone, they're very sure with themselves what they want. And so when they do communicate, the level of communication is totally different. And so for me, we would say, well, I'm just going to go and see what happens. I'm not really here to, kind of like, I don't expect to meet that special person. Well, then you've already closed the door on yourself. So what would you expect to happen? I think that mindset keeps people stuck being single. Because why would you say it to yourself? Well, it's because you want to protect yourself. Because if I say I'm going to go and meet someone or try to meet someone and I don't, then I feel protected. When I don't, because I said, well, that's not what I'm looking for. But then it's never going to happen, So for me, it's always, if you go and it doesn't happen, that's fine. Go to the next supermarket, but be open and clear with yourself. Because if you're not, you can't communicate to anyone else what you're actually looking for.
I can't get over that great analogy, because it's like, for me, I don't see the point of going shopping for something I don't know what I want, right? Like how people say, I'm just going to go window shopping, whatever. Right? To me, I get it once in a blue moon, but I am so adamant. If I'm going shopping and I'm going shopping for a pair of trainers, I'm going shopping for a pair of trainers. And it's very rarely that I'll ever deviate from that. Yeah. I'll go get my trainers. And then even if, there is something else I need, but I'm just not in the mood to go shopping for that, I'm not going to do it. Yeah. I'm just going to go, I want trainers. I'm going to go get them. And that's it, I'm done. Yeah. And I find I save a lot of energy that way as well. Whereas if I just go there, it's true what they say is right. As blokes, we just get so tired shopping, right? We're shopping with our partners. It's true, actually. I'm sorry to say it, ladies, but it's true. But like for me, it's the most energy conserving way of doing things. Yeah. Just being direct, knowing what I want, going out, getting it, and looking for it actively. If this was a pair of shoes, is this these pair for me? Do I like them? Let me try them on. Do they feel good? They feel nice. I bought these recently. I was like, okay, cool. They're good. They fit. They're actually about a size too small, but I know these are brands. They tend to stretch, so it's all good. Happy days. Done. Bought. Gone. Bye. 15 minutes later, I'm done. And it's people out there who are going to that analogy. They're going out there window shopping, not having a clue.
And then the funny thing is, either they won't come home with the shoes or they'll come home with something they didn't want.
Yeah.
And in dating, how many people do that all the time? They don't know what they want. They can't say it in their head. They can't think it. They can't visualize it. So they go on these dates just to say, I'm dating. But they're coming home. They're going for the shoes. They're coming home, with another pair of socks or another hat that they don't need. And, it gets thrown in the wardrobe, and it's that same thing. You're either not going to get anything, right? Or going to get something you don't want. And that's it.
Yeah.
How does it help anybody?
Exactly. Yeah. Hey, listen, I want your take as well, right? So you've been to a couple of events I've done. You came to the Date My Single Mate, which was at the end of April, and you came to my event that was just this past weekend. And I think this is great for me to hear from someone's perspective who's in the crowd, who's coming to experience it, and not necessarily always looking, but you actually love to go and help other people as well. Hopefully you're looking for yourself too as well, going by the shopping analogy. Right? But yeah, what we'll say though is that you've mentioned, we won't give any names away yet because obviously it's their early journey, but a friend of yours kind of met someone and they've already had a follow-up date, potentially second date lined up, I think that you were saying. And then I was saying as well that someone met at one of my events in December. They'd kind of become friends and then sort of friend did a little bit of matchmaking and they came to my event again on Saturday. And at the event, they did actually decide to go open because they'd already had one date. He went open, decided to go talk to people. By the end of the night, they decided that they're going to just see each other, go exclusive, because they've done what I would say they've done exactly the right thing. They handled it maturely. They've both gone to a singles event together. They've gone and talked to other people, but they've actually decided, no, I want to get to know you. And I just think that's like so mature and so practical how they've done it. And this is the thing that can sometimes elude love, which is practicality.
100%.
But what's your take, like, of everything, the whole spectrum, what you've seen, what you see of people, your experience? Give us the lowdown.
Yeah, I'll start with my friend who I took specifically to it was a second event. Been to two events, dating events. First one was Date My Mate, and he met someone. They kind of had a chat, but both people were like, no, it was great because both people knew what they wanted, and it was like, okay, you're a great person, but this is not what I want long term. So that was kind of like that. Then it was come to the second event on Saturday, and we were in the pub before. We always have like a get in the zone kind of thing. And like, why are you going to Amit's events? I'm going to find someone. That's the mindset. So that the same event before, same mindset, and then it was straight in, sitting around, having a few drinks, and kind of like, and this is what I would say to a lot of people. The amount of women that I talk to, who are like, oh yeah, I've not really looked. And it's like, imagine again going to the supermarket and just looking at the wall. It's like, why are you not looking? And that's another thing. I'm coming to the event, but I'm not looking. So why not looking? Well, I'm afraid I'm never going to meet someone. So you've got to look. So we're looking, scanning the room. Is there anyone that you feel, first of all, physically attracted to? Is there some kind of physical attraction? Okay, this person. Then he went and talked to the girl. Now, is there a vibe? Do we kind of like? For me, it's all about energy. Is there an energetical match here? Do we get on? And then it's like, yeah. Then it's straight away, get the number. Like you said it on the event, just get the number. And it's something that I'll always remember for the rest of my life. You said, because it's what I say all the time. It's get the number to organize the date. Don't get the number to get to know the person. That's not what the number's for. And that's just like such gold dust when he said that. And I think I looked around and I saw people's faces and they're like, the jaw kind of dropped. Wow.
Yeah.
It's like people didn't realize that. Then after you said that, kind of in the room, I saw there was a lot more interaction where people were genuinely kind of getting numbers and it's great. But from what I see, it's like, be clear. I'm going to meet someone. It may happen, it may not, but I'm going with an intention. Speak to the people that you're genuinely attracted to, okay? And then speak to other people because, it's not always about attraction. It's about energy too. And if you like someone, just straight away go in and say, I like you. I feel there's some energy. I like this thing. It's like, give me your hand, yeah? Yeah. I do this thing when I say, can you feel the energy?
I like
that thing. And it's like, it breaks the ice down. And it's like, well, I want to get to know you. Let's exchange numbers. Let's go for a date. Exactly as you said, right? And I think if that was there more, people would be so much more, exactly as you said, people would be so much more successful at finding the potential right person. But it's that fear of maybe this isn't going to be the right person. Maybe I'm going to meet someone and they're not going to be great, or I've been burnt in the past relationships. But it's like, come on, you don't even know this person. Yeah. Is this person the same as your ex? No. But if we carry that mindset and we drag in the past behind us, then you can't live in your present, and you certainly can't create a future.
Yeah. So true as well. And that idea, that concept about, like people, and then they just try to get to know each other at a distance. And I cannot tell everyone out there enough how much that doesn't work. There are exceptions to the rule, and it works occasionally for people. But for the most part, it's just not something you want to do, is get to know each other at a distance. And I'm talking like, like trying to formulate and create a rapport over messages and stuff. And like I said, it works if you're meeting at the same time as well. When I posted that video recently, and it was the conversation between me and my wife when we first met, right? The text chat. Yeah. And that was in addition to us meeting. It wasn't just us getting to know each other through, random chat at a distance. Yeah. We'd already had our first conversation on the Friday on the phone after, 15 minutes after we'd connected. And then the next day we'd had our date, and that was all follow-up stuff as well after that. And then obviously the messages continue from after that date too.
Yeah, because you had like 3 dates in the first week or something.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, literally. Yeah. So we met on the Saturday, the Tuesday, and the Thursday, and then the first month was 12 dates. Yeah. So
that's how it should be.
It's exactly how it should be.
I don't understand why people have this thing in their head. I've had it personally, in a dating experience where she said to me, I want to get to know you. I said, listen, I'm busy. I'm a busy guy. I don't have time to sit on a WhatsApp and, chat endlessly. I'd rather meet you for an hour or 2, 3 hours, whatever, and just actually get to know you. Because my personal opinion, right or wrong, is like, what am I going to get from text messages? I could be talking to a bot for all I know.
Yeah, especially in this day and age, right? Yeah, it could be. Absolutely could be. But I can't tell women out there enough. Like what he just said is so true. You have to understand that doing it at distance puts you at risk of so many different things. And not to mention, obviously, just the wastage of time. But you have no idea who's on the other side.
Totally.
Yeah. And you don't know anything about them. It doesn't matter how much you feel like you connect with them. Even if you do exchange some messages for a few days and it gets on really well, you have no idea if that's still going to be there when you meet. This is why meeting is just paramount. It's like pivotal that you've got to just meet the person. Now, I get where women come from, right? Because their thinking is, right, from a safety perspective.
Totally.
Right. And obviously, it's almost like a psychological thing. I'm trying to keep my distance until I can feel more comfortable about letting this person in. And so it's only natural women feel the need to do that. But unfortunately, it is just so detrimental. The objective is, right, plan the date safely. And so long as the guy's a gentleman, he's nice, but he's a good person, good at heart, he isn't going to suggest things like, come over to my place, I'll make you dinner. Forget all of that. Your objective, ladies, is that you just meet them in a safe space, a public place, for the first day, whether it's a park, cafe, you go for a meal, whatever. It doesn't really matter what you do at this stage. I tell you what, in this day, and you just get on a freaking date. It's a miracle, right? Just get out on a freaking date, meet each other, and then obviously then see if there's anything to build off, right? Even if you know necessarily any attraction, but you just get on, great, you've got something to build off, and then go from there.
It comes down to, like, I see it like exactly what you said, just building off your point. It comes down to, like, can you make a decision? So you can't lose in this decision. So I'm going to meet this person, and if they're great, we vibe, brilliant, I can invest time. If they're not, brilliant, at least I know that. Now, that waste of time is huge.
Yeah.
You're wasting time in someone, you could be spending that time, with someone else or looking for someone else. And it's like you said at the event, most people coming to these events are like in their 40s, let's say, right? It's like, we don't have time. We're not in our 20s. And this is going to be really controversial, so like, don't send me hate mail, yeah. But if you're
send him hate mail,
send, I'll give you the email address later. But like, I think a lot of women, when I speak to women, they want someone who's ambitious, okay, passionate, ambitious. A ambitious man is going to be busy, right? And do you want a guy that's going to be on his phone texting you all day? Because to me, again, don't hate and judge me, like, that guy is not very busy. Because a guy who's got a mission, he's working on things, he's doing a lot of things and trying to build his life and hopefully share it with his partner, is not going to have the time to just sit there all day WhatsApping, And so even from a selective point from a mate as a female who wants to feel safe that when she meets someone who's ambitious, well, you're starting already on the wrong foot, because that guy, and again, I'm generalizing, may not be the right one.
Yeah. And I there's something about the word ambitious which I think is wrong. It's a misnomer. Because it's not the ambition you fall in love with, but it's their drive, it's their ability to just move things forward, to create conditions in their life where to be, literally, in fact, that is the words. I don't even need to add to that sentence, to create conditions in their life, right? Totally. Which are beneficial to them, beneficial to you. So it's not the ambition that you're attracted to that you're going to love, but it's the fact that they can actually move things forward. And I think that's what they need to know, that it's not necessarily that they're ambitious, because actually their ambition could be detrimental to love.
Yeah, because if we go deeper as to exactly what you said, it's like we got to look not so superficially in that with that word ambition. We go deeper. We go, well, what does ambition mean? If someone's ambitious, it means they have drive. It means they have passion. And if someone's passionate, what does that mean? They care.
Yeah.
And so if he cares about, what he does, because for most people, one of the biggest, well, how much time do we spend in our job? Most of the day, right? So if he cares about that time he's spending in his job, he's going to care about me. And he's going to look after me, and he's going to be there for me. And he's not some lazy guy that just doesn't care about anything. So it comes down to, like you said, a woman wants to feel safe all the time. That gives her an enormous amount of safety, because you know that this guy cares, and that ambition, we talk about ambition, it could be, I think we all go to like, material, like wealth, like, working stupid, crazy hours just for the sake of money. And when you strip it down, actually, to the true sense of the word ambition, it is he cares enough. So everybody wants that. Every woman wants that from a guy, yeah?
So true. You were mentioning as well, one thing from the event that you came across where there was a lovely lady, very good looking.
Yeah.
You went up to her, and you got I think you got a brilliant energy as well. Yeah. And you went up to her just to say hello, and she totally blanked you.
Yeah, totally. So I brought a couple of guys with me, right? And one was my client, and he's there, and he wants to meet someone. So he's very, first dating event. He's very shy. And I said, look, is there anyone here that you like? And he said, oh, this girl. So I went up to speak to her, and so when I went over to speak to her, and it was just like, we do the normal things, just like, don't approach from the back. Don't do that, right? Stalker vibes, she's not safe. Approach from the front or the side, okay? Eye contact, confidence, make her feel safe, right amount of space. You do all those things. And then there's still the rejection. And I think that rejection for guys who are trying to date is like destroys their soul.
Yeah.
So I always say this. I have to be able to make sure that I've done all my things right. So all the things I just talked about. Now, if I've done those things right, then if she's not interested, if she rejects me, it could be she's got a bad day, she's going through a bad time, and she's got a bad history, maybe in dating. It could be the fact that her ex had a shaved head and it just totally, put her off, or she doesn't like white shirts. It could be 1,000 reasons. She's having a bad day. But we take it to be, I got rejected. My self-worth is just had a hammer, knife to the heart of self-worth. But it's not. So if you can hold that frame for a guy, whether it's a dating event or a supermarket or, just anywhere in a restaurant, and you realize it's not about me. Yeah. I mean, obviously, if you go and you're like rude and you don't know how to approach a woman, then probably, most likely it's probably that's not going to help things. But if you go, it's not about me. I've been respectful. I've been considerate. Something else, then it's going to hurt. I'm not going to say it's not going to hurt because, we all have an ego, right? It's going to hurt. But then that hurt is like 10 seconds. Okay, yeah, not about me. Breathe. Carry on.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. But I think it's easy to forget in the moment, and you just might need a moment or two to recalibrate once that moment has passed, and just take a deep breath, not personal. Yeah. Just walk away. It's all good. And then try again. I've
got a really cool little thing I do with some of my life coaching clients, which is when you get stressed in that situation where we feel like, okay, what is going on with me? It's my nervous system, and it's like going out of control. So I feel like, oh my God. Like when a cheetah or a big cat chases a leopard, and the leopard a zebra, right? And the zebra manages to escape. The first thing the zebra does when it's safe is shake its body like that.
Yeah.
And that movement just gets rid of all of the cortisol, resets the nervous system. And so I teach my life coaching clients, when you get into that state, shake your body. And guys do this, and you'll be like, oh, wow, I actually feel better. So if you see like someone like in supermarket doing that, right? You know why, right?
It's so true. So what dogs do as well, right? They all do it. It's a stress relief, and it does it. And it's also like, when you kind of come out of a culture and you go, it's like that reset, don't you?
Totally.
You do a full reset. Yeah. The other one is the double breathing in technique that Andrew Huberman talks about, where he goes, because even sometimes if you notice when you're upset, you're going to cry, you almost go. It's actually a way of regulating your nervous system as well. So it's a good way of just doing like a 2 sharp breaths in and then one just out, simple as well. That works really well as well. It's another good one to do. And then there was the tapping technique as well. I don't know if you've seen that, just doing a little bit of tapping as well. It's almost like giving yourself a hug. It's a great way to kind of just start calming yourself down. You may not want to do this in a singles event. You may come across and looking a bit, people will be like, what the hell is he doing? But it does work that when you're in a position where you could do that and you need a reset, it's a great way to do it. But the breathing one's good because you can do that anywhere.
Yeah,
it's a really good one. But yeah, it's great to hear your side of the equation of what you see at these events and stuff, and what challenges you see for on both sides as well. And it's I know it goes both ways. I know there's a lot of ladies out there. There was one thing as well that happened. I find, and I'm going to just be a tiny bit critical of ladies. Don't get me wrong, it does go both ways, but I think women have are faster, and it's more natural for them to just start blaming men and just, blaming there's all bad men. We want guys to do this. We want guys to do that. We want a previous event. I kind of mentioned this as well, that, guys' biggest bugbear at these events was the girls were grouping together.
Yes.
So when they want to approach, it's really hard. Ladies' biggest complaint was we're not being approached. And I'm like, there you go. That's the reason why, ladies. Just if you break up, if you can split up from these groups, the guys are more likely to approach you, come up to you and talk to you. So that was one aspect of it.
Because we're like predators, really. Men are predators. Like like women, are like almost like prey. I'm going very primal, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you've got a big like group of girls. Men, if you go to these events and you notice, anyone's been to these events, the guy will approach when the girl leaves the group.
Yeah.
And he's waiting and waiting and waiting, and then he'll make his move. Then he feels rushed.
Yeah.
Because, she's going to get a drink. I've got to get in there quick. And I was like, no, I'm nervous. So.
Yeah, no, it's so true though. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely spot on. It's hard, right? But this is where I think for me, when I was doing all this stuff, going and approaching a group was the best skill I could learn, because often they did bunch together, they did clump together,
totally.
And so if you could somehow get in there. I remember this is a few years back. This is probably just before lockdown. I think I was doing an event in Birmingham, and we were at this lovely venue. We had a sort of semi-private space, and next to us was these 20, 25 beautiful women, obviously out on some kind of hen do. And so one of the guys was like, do you reckon any of them are single? And I was like, why don't we let's go ask. So I just dragged him along and went up to one of the ladies, and obviously she's still with them. And I said, hope you don't mind. Looks like you guys are having a great time. Like, what are you celebrating? What's the thing? What's going on? And one thing I noticed as well, if that was London, we might have got a bad reaction.
Yeah.
Because this is in the Midlands, they're all really friendly. They're like, oh, yeah, it's her hen do and stuff. We're just celebrating. I was like, oh, that's so good. That's so good. As what about you? Are you married? Whatever. And then the conversation just got naturally started in that direction.
Totally.
But I think that's a great skill for guys to learn.
It is such an art, and you're so right when you look at different locations. It's very easy. People up north, I find, like Wales, very friendly because it's the culture. Now, when you come to London, it's the opposite almost. And so, if you don't, it's great to say, going to an event, maybe the girls separate a bit, but like in the world, like when you're going out and you see a girl, they're going to be in a group, and so. I've seen guys like try and approach girls and just fail. And the number one reason I see them fail is they go straight to the girl they like and they start talking to her. And it's like, you got to understand as a guy, these girls are there. It's safety, safety, safety. The girls are going to be like, who's this guy? What does he want? Is he trying to hurt my friend? Is he trying to take advantage? And so when you go to a group of girls, the first thing to do is talk to all of them. Don't go straight to the one you like. And it's like, make everyone feel safe. It's like, hey girls, how's everyone's night going? You talk to everyone, how's your night? Then just hold eye contact a little longer with the one you like. Then they will know, she will know, oh yeah, this is who he likes. But it's like, talk to everyone because you want them to be on your side. Because if they're not on your side, they're going to be against you. And then you've already lost the battle.
Yeah.
So that's a great strategy, right?
Yeah. My technique for groups in the back of the day was the debate, right? The male versus female. You go in there, you say, listen, help me and my friend settle a debate for us, right? Yeah. Who cheats more, women or men? All right. Or who should pay? You just bring up one of the popular topics and suddenly they're like, of course it should be men. And so it just gets them fired up and wanting to talk. And they were like,
that's a great one. That's like almost like Instagram viral strategy.
Yeah.
They want to have an opinion, right? So there's nothing about safety now. It's like, oh no, I need to talk about this, and you're talking, right?
Yeah, so true. Or me and Moon went out. We did some street content the other day, and we were doing the red flag, green flag with people.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
And we were like, and one she got the list of questions off ChatGPT, and there's a few really good ones in there because they're quite a grey area. Yeah. So it's a really good one to ask because it makes people really think. One was like, obsessed with success. So that's a good one because it really makes people think, right? So you could, even if you're approaching a group of ladies and you ask them the question, is a guy who's obsessed with success a green flag or a red flag? And it gets people really thinking because it's not an obvious answer. And there was a couple of others that came up as well that were really good. For example, wakes up at 5 a.m. and goes to the gym. Now, most people were saying green flag, but some people were saying red because there was one girl that I spoke to on that day. She said red because she was like, I'm not a morning person. I like lying in. So she said that's a red flag for her. So it's interesting, isn't it? Most people probably say green, but for her it was a red. So little things like that where people will put people on the fence a little bit and they'll have to actually go in themselves, like inside themselves and actually think, well, actually, what do I think about this? And that really gets people like start talking, start thinking. And they've almost, at that moment as well, psychologically, they've forgotten about the fact that you've approached them, but they've actually gone inside and turning asking that question, is it more, and it becomes more about that than the fact you're there, a stranger speaking to them, and they're like, actually, I've forgotten about that bit.
Yeah, it's primal threat indicator. A guy approaches to a girl, is he here to hurt me? What does he want? That's all she's like, what does he want? Is he here to hurt me? So unless you're able to break that down and make her feel safe within seconds, this show's over.
Yeah, so true.
So male psychology, like guys understanding that psychology is like 95% of the battle, just to get that conversation in, right?
Yeah. So we've talked a lot about the guys' side of things, and you had quite a lot to say about the ladies' side of things recently. Obviously, based on the people you work with, your clientele, what you come across just generally, what you're seeing more and more about women, their psychology, what's going through their head right now. What about things like their self-worth or their behavior patterns from the past or even early childhood?
Yeah, I mean, my feelings are very, very strong. And actually, one of the reasons I actually got my Instagram suspended recently, and I thought, oh my God, I've lost my Instagram, my whole channel. And when I talked to Meta, I got a lot of reports, that my content was discriminatory. So a lot of, husbands, a lot of guys saying, oh, he's anti-male, and so obviously, of course, they've got a duty. They flagged it, they investigated it, and said, of course, there's nothing wrong here. But I didn't have my account for like 4 or 5 days, and I was like profusely sweating, and the sun didn't help that either, right? But we're back, because I really think what's going on with women these days is an epidemic. In fact, I would call it a disease. And the disease is, why are women self-abandoning themselves? Why are they losing themselves? And I see so many women who, because I started in fitness originally, and get a load of women on the program, and they just wouldn't follow the meal plan. They wouldn't eat well. They wouldn't exercise. And from a traditional kind of coaching perspective, it'd be like, come on, you got this, motivate them. But I eventually realized it's like, for example, if I pick this up and then I pick up this glass, right? Okay, so for a woman, like, for example, like, she's got her job and she's got her family. In that family, you've got a husband, you've got in-laws, you've got her family, you've got the kids, you've got everything. So she's got 2 hands full. Now I come along and say, take a third glass, which is go to the gym, change the way you eat, do all these things, do some steps, do some movement. Like, she's got no more hands left. So unless she puts something down, right? Let's even say it's a glass of water and it's full. I'm not going to empty this out in the studio. Unless she empties her cup and puts some of that down, she cannot be consistent. And that's the whole philosophy that I built my Mirror program on. And it's really helping women to stop abandoning themselves and to learn to put things down. And the reason that they can't put things down is because their nervous system is wired to a way of thinking and beliefs. And so they know these things, but they can't do it, because this starts to go, she feels guilty, she doesn't feel like she's a good person. She has to put everyone else's needs before hers. She's at the bottom of the list, and at the bottom of the list, she cannot show up for herself. And that's what I believe is a huge epidemic. And women now are starting to really realize and questioning themselves to go, is my role on this planet just to be a maid, a cook, basically a servant? Because that's how I feel. And I feel completely invisible. Nobody sees me. And I'm just putting up with it. And that's my life. And I don't feel great. And they get to so many women, like literally like hundreds of thousands of women that I've been speaking to over the past year, literally hundreds of thousands of comments, people speaking, saying, I just want a divorce. It's just too much, and we don't want people to get divorced. We want people to, be in happy, family units. I'm not saying, you have to get married, but if you are married, like, you want to preserve that relationship, right? And so it's a huge thing.
Yeah.
It's a huge thing.
It's massive, isn't it? Yeah. On the recommendation Facebook group, the ladies group that Nirti's on, and she never divulges the identities and stuff, but she often does tell me some of the stories she hears on there, where women are talking about the challenges they're going through in their marriage, and often a lot of the time it is to do with the marital stuff, and she talks about. She does say this to me. She goes, you know what? By the way, I just want to say my hands up. I'm not perfect by any measure at all. I just want to make sure I'm very clear about that. But she does say I'm very lucky because, with you, because you don't all this little shit that I see people talk about and complain about their husbands and things like that. She goes, you're not like that at all. You actually do shit around the house. You actually, when we want to, I rarely have to ask you to do things twice. When we say we're going to do something, we just get on and do it. You're. We kind of having this running joke near the now, right? She definitely does the lion's share of the cooking, if not all of the cooking. But I always say to everyone, ask her if she should ever refill the soap dispensers. Ask her if she's ever refilled the salt, or put the bins back after rubbish day, or do even laundry and stuff as well. Very rarely does she do the laundry. I try and maintain the house in every best way that I possibly can. Clean the toilets, all that kind of stuff, right? Little things that need to be done. But the problems that I see and the problems that we hear about, just the little things that, I'm generalizing what I'm about to say, but it's based on the truth, the little things, like the husband's not doing anything around the house and not helping at all. And, assuming that it's the wife's responsibility to do everything else, the cooking, the cleaning, looking after the kids, and where's his role?
And it's such, and again, I don't want to upset anyone, but I probably will. But let's go right to the start of the problem. Okay, and there'll be lots of mums listening to this. If you take one thing from me from this podcast, remember this. Most women think saying yes is love. Saying no and saying yes is love. Saying no is love. Saying yes is love. They're both the same. They're both love. So if you have, for example, a son, and you do everything for him, and when he's misbehaving or he's not tidying up after himself, you just let him get away with it because he's stamping his feet and he's being naughty, he's not behaving very well, and you just give him a treat anyway. You're creating a future husband that thinks that he doesn't have to do anything and he could stamp his feet or ignore you. You're creating the same situation that you're unhappy with in yourself. So the freedom for women is understanding that saying no is love too. It's not just about saying yes. And so for most women who are in a situation where they put up with everything, they do everything, we ask the question, why is that? Because from a child, that what she was taught, that when she did all these things by mother or father or family, she got praise. She said, well done. Maybe she got things. And when she didn't do things, she was punished. So she's learned that to get love, it's acts of service.
And also it could be duty as well. You've been told it's your duty, right?
Totally. And a lot of cultural, indoctrination there. And so the husband also got taught things when he was small as well. The mum does everything. Dad doesn't do anything. Dad comes home, goes to work, comes home, puts his feet up. Where mum may go to work, she'll come home and she'll start cooking and cleaning and doing the bedtime routine, doing the washing up, and he's just watching TV. Like that whole dynamic. It's like, well, when does she get a day off? She's working 7 days a week, 24 hours on call, and he does 9 to 5, 5 days a week, and that's it. So it's not a fair division of labor, And even I know some people say, yeah, but what about the women that don't work? Well, looking after kids is a full-time job, and again, it's 7 days a week, no days off. She gets no time for herself, and she's utterly exhausted. She's lost her identity. She doesn't do anything for herself. And sometimes when I ask women, like, what have you done for yourself recently? They say nothing. I say, well, what would you like to do? And they can't even tell me. What would you like for dinner? I don't know. Because she spent her life making dinners for everyone else, watching movies. What movie would you like to watch? Oh, whatever. No, what would you like to watch? I don't know. Because she sits there watching his movie, the kids' movies. She's just lost herself. And it's so ingrained into here that she can't put it down. She can't say no. She can't put boundaries in. And that is the root problem. That's the root struggle, why she's not living the life that she wants to. And for me, working with clients, like, I guess people say, well, how do I change that? Yeah, that's me for sure. Like, how do I change that? It's not about big, huge things. It's about small things every day. You want to get into shape, go to the gym, you want to get bigger biceps or toned bum. You just go every day and you do some reps with some hip thrusts or some squats, and you just keep doing it every single day. And so saying no a couple of times a week, and just, even though when your nervous system is going chaotic, I feel horrible, I feel guilty, I've got mummy guilt, I've got this guilt, I'm worried about the in-laws judging me because I'm not a good wife in their eyes, and my parents told me to listen to my in-laws because they don't want to feel disrespect in themselves and their community. It's systemic. But saying no and feeling that, and then the more you say no, the more you sit with your boundaries and you don't break them, over time, that feeling will probably still be there, but it doesn't stop you from taking the action you need to look after yourself. And that's the key.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think about my neighbours when you were just talking there. I was thinking about my neighbours. They've got 2 kids. They've been together a long time, actually, longer than me and my wife. I think they've been together, I don't know, something in the region of 17, 18 years, I think. And their oldest is 6 and the youngest is 3. And, we think about them constantly. Like we obviously don't have kids, but we've got Monty. So we get a sense of what it's like to have a little being that you look after. And then it's about him. It's not about you. Like when I'm sitting there and I just want to veg out in front of the TV, but Monty wants to play, it's got to play. Just got to get up and do it, like kind of thing. It's just one of those things. But for them, it's even, they've got this 2 little rugrats and they are precious little creatures. Honestly, they're both amazing kids. But obviously they need a lot of love and attention. A lot of time goes on them. But what I see they do well? They share the responsibility well. It's not like she's got to do this, he's got to do that. No, they both just get on with it, do what needs to be done, and they share it. And that's a true partnership. That's what we're aiming for, right? All this conversation we've had, everything from start to finish, that's what we want, is a true partnership. That it's not, that one thing I've said to people a lot recently is that you think someone is just coming into your world and that's it. We seem to have this very lopsided vision. Someone's just going to come in and slot into our world. And that's not what it is. You're going to slot into theirs. Like, the fun way that I put this with everyone is everything doubles in the most fun way possible. So your family doubles. You've suddenly got not just one set of family to go see. You've got now 2 sets of family to go see. You've got double the laundry to do, double the washing to do, double the emotional responsibility, not just yourself, but the other person. Everything doubles. So it's not just, everything suddenly becomes hunky-dory because you've got a partner. Actually, everything becomes harder. And when you're single, things can be painful, but it only gets harder as when you meet someone, because it involves the responsibility of looking after someone else's emotional well-being, possibly even more. Little ones may come along and you've got even more suddenly. It's not just 2 of you, it's 4 of you. And then, it just keeps growing. So, hey, when the kids move out and go to college and stuff and everything, and it does go freaking fast, fair enough. You can relax again a little bit, but still, even then, they're always going to call mummy and daddy and say, we need this, we need that. But I just feel like a lot of people forget about this in the beginning, in the early stages. And, and as you said, right, can be lopsided. You've got women who are taking on the lion's share of everything at home and being expected to do it. They're expecting themselves to do it. And then it's not a real partnership at the end of the day.
And it's like a lot of men are saying to me, oh, you're taking the women's side. I'm not taking anybody's side. I am a female coach. But I will say to women, I had a client recently and she's not in a great place with her husband and he doesn't do anything. And she's like, okay. I said, what's the last thing you asked him to do? And she said, I asked him to do the washing. I said, how did you ask him? She comes in, she said, have you done the washing? I asked you to do the washing. And I said, this is not about right or wrong. Here's 2 questions. Do you want to be right, or do you want the washing to be done? Do you want to be in love, right? Or do you want to be disconnected? And I asked her to go and put all her resentment and all those feelings of he should do this, it's his job, he should know, put it to the side and understand his world. In his world, when he was small, probably, his mum did everything. Yeah. That's what he's learnt. So we got to be able to almost hack his brain to be able to get him to, have a different way of thinking and acting, right? To do this, go back to the start of the relationship when you were flirty and everything was like sexy and flirty and you couldn't keep your hands off each other. Now go up to him and say to him, baby, do you know what's so sexy? I find it so sexy when you do the washing, right? And she said, seriously? I said, yeah. And she's a great girl, right? And she did it. She went up, flirted with him. She came back, gave me feedback. She said, Rowan, I can't believe it. He got all giggly. He did the washing. He even hung it up. I can't believe it. And I said, yeah, because you're shouting at him, right? That doesn't help you.
Yeah, it doesn't help anyone.
And if you're going to hang on to this, he should know I'm pissed off. You've not understood where he's coming from, like different relationship models. His relationship model is mum did everything. When I'm married, my wife would do everything. And her relationship model in her house was mum and dad did everything together. So you've got 2 relationship models in conflict. And if you don't want to take the time to understand his and he doesn't want to take the time to understand yours through a bridge of communication, which we talked about at the start, then you just got to be divorced.
Yeah. I don't know if you've ever heard this quote from Tony Robbins. I love this one. If you do at the end of a relationship what you did at the beginning, there would be no end. And I love that. And it's so true. And you know, what you just said, you've landed on something so important that I try and speak to women about. And I bumped into a lovely lady recently. She gave me a copy of her book that she wrote. It's called 12 Dates to Destiny. And her name's Sitil Fatania. She's the author. She came to the event as well. She was there on Saturday as well. And we were talking about this. We were just sitting down when we met at a networking earlier in the week, last week. And I was saying that, you know, as guys, we're generally taught the basics of what women want, right? Buy her flowers, compliment her, tell her she looks amazing, tell her you love her, you know, take her out for dinner once in a while. So we're kind of framed with what a woman wants to receive in love. Yeah. And I ask women this all the time. What do you think we want? And I get some relatively good guesses, but I very rarely get answers that are anywhere near on the mark. Yeah. And I'm like, do you know, this is one of the things that's missing. You nailed it though, because that complaining, that nagging, never is going to work in a million years. And let's just say this to the camera right now, just for ladies to hear this. Nagging, complaining is never going to work in a billion gazillion years. But if you do what you mentioned, right? Yeah. And this, again, we're quite feeble and simple. We just need a little bit of training and the nurturing, right? So and again, some women might be out there going, oh, I don't want to have to mother him. No, it's not about that. Just changing your style of communication. Is it really that hard? It isn't that hard. It's actually quite simple. Like you said, she went up to him, I find it really sexy when you do the laundry, right? And that's such an appreciative statement. It's such a nice way of mentioning it to someone. Or there's another gazillion ways of doing the same thing, getting the same result. But the one thing that women tend to lean into is nagging and bugging, and it will never achieve the result.
And the other thing I get from working with women is they say, why should I have to say thank you?
Yeah.
Why should I have to, he should do the dishes, he should do these things. And I said, it comes back to you are not serving your own needs.
Yeah.
You are abandoning yourself because, don't be upset, ladies. I'm with you, yeah? It's ego. Because for a guy, he loves praise.
Yeah.
And when you say to your husband or your partner, baby, thank you so much for doing the washing up.
Yeah.
He's going to have a big smile on his face and he's going to want to do it again. Now we come back to the same question. Do you want him to do the washing up? Do you want to take stuff? And this goes back to the mirror. We're trying to help women put some of the load down. So by doing those two things, right, by being playful, flirty, approaching him in a nice way to get it done, and then praising him, saying, well done, thank you, I appreciate you doing that, you're taking load and you're putting it down.
Yeah.
Right? You're creating bandwidth for yourself. So it's, again, what you're doing doesn't serve you, and it keeps you stuck, it keeps you miserable, he's miserable, everyone's miserable. Now the children, which we haven't talked about, are watching this. They're watching mum and dad in conflict, they're watching mum nagging, right? They're watching dad doing nothing, and you're teaching them not a very healthy relationship model for when they grow up. And so everybody wins. If you change the way you communicate, like you just said, if you change the way you communicate, you're going to get a different outcome, you're going to get a different experience for mum, dad, and the kids. So why are you opposed to that?
Yeah.
That's the question.
So true, so true. So our next step is to get you married off. Get you to put all of this into practice now.
That's it. And that'll be on another podcast.
By the way, ladies, he is single. No, but I think, you have honestly hit such a good nail on the head there. I think that it's such a big contentious part of relationships just generally. That, and you know what I say to everyone as well, is that, when women often say these words, they often say, why should I have to ask him?
Yeah.
Well, I wish you would just do it.
Yeah.
And I've got news for you, ladies. You're never, ever going to be in a relationship where you don't have to ask the guy to do certain things. It just doesn't exist. So forget that. That's just not realistic. But if you just do it in a different way, if you prompt him in a really nice way with appreciation and just chuck that in there, just reframe it. I saw a great video about this recently as well. This was a while ago, actually. It was just a great example of how a woman was talking to a guy, and there was some therapist there or something, the partners are talking to each other and she's really nagging him and hammering him, having to go at him about this, that, the other, about his son or how his son behaves. And then she came over and she showed how she would do it. And, she sat next to him rubbing his back. She's like, baby, I know you've tried really hard. I know it's been really hard. And, think about what it is you want to teach him as a role model for your son. What do you want him to see in you that he's going to take away? Like the way she did it, I'm paraphrasing, but the way she did it was phenomenal. Like, it was just a really good example of how a real subtle shift in communication can change everything.
Yes.
Hey, don't get me wrong. We all need to learn. I need to learn. You need to learn. We all need to learn. And it doesn't happen. Learning doesn't happen except in real life. Yeah. In real life is your practice ground. There is no other way it's going to happen. And so when we're there, you got this person to do it, and she, lo and behold, she saw the result. When I teach women at the dating stage, if you say this, if you do this in this way, you'll be shocked at the result you get, because you just keep doing it the same way, getting the same result, and then you're angry. You're angry at the world. You're angry at me. You're angry at men. You're getting angry at everything. But if only you just change your approach, everything would change anyway.
Yeah. So why are you holding on to an approach that doesn't work? Yeah. It's not about what Amit says or what I say. The proof is that it's not working, right? Yeah. We shouldn't have to convince you. Like, it's not working. And from the other side, I always go to the men. From the men's side, the biggest thing I see with men is a complete lack of emotional intelligence. Okay, a lack of understanding, and it's not their fault. I'm going to be direct. I'm not excusing it, because we're here to learn and grow, like you just said. But essentially, fundamentally, it's not their fault, because it was never taught to them, right? Most people, like, I'm in my 40s, right? Our dads never had that capacity to teach us. Nobody taught us that. But here's the pivot. Men, if any men or any women listen to this, like, have this conversation, communicate nicely with your husband. It's like, it's our job as men now to be able to change our understanding, to be able to be emotionally intelligent, to be able to talk to her in a way that, understands her. Right? And people are talking at each other, through each other, around each other. They're not talking to each other. And so that's why, like, I say to so many couples who are going through a problem, just go to counseling. Now, most times, I'm generalizing, the woman will say, I have told him 1,000 times, he doesn't want to do it. And this is where I will be direct. If you're a man and you refuse to get help because you do not have the skills to be able to solve this yourself, and you don't want to get the help, you don't deserve her. And when she leaves you, don't cry about it, because you had an opportunity to change. But if you stay stuck and you don't want to grow, you don't want to evolve together with your wife in the same direction, okay, then you don't deserve her. She deserves better, and I will say that till some people said to me, some guys said, you're breaking up divorces. No, you're the guy that can't pick up his socks and you don't want to go to counseling. That's not on me. That's on you, brother. Take accountability.
No, it's so true. Do you know, there's one edit I'd make on what you said, though. I think it's not always necessarily emotional intelligence. Yeah. I think as men, our modality is quite a low level of emotional intelligence. We don't need to employ high levels, I think, to day. And I think that then when it comes to the crunch, we don't necessarily employ it at the right time. I think most guys generally have it, but they just don't know when and how to use it. But for the most part, we're operating, I would say you and I are probably on the same level, right? I think we just operate on a very simple level of emotional intelligence.
The difference is, I'll edit as you as well.
Awareness.
Yeah, you have, right? The reason that, Nithi says, I don't have these problems with you, is because you have emotional awareness. You're able to reflect, and you do have high EQ. Same for me. And I'll give you the example is when a couple are arguing, and I'm guilty of this myself, right? But I'm aware of it, and I will stop this pattern at some point. Is she's talking from her emotional experience. This is how I feel, yeah. And he's going, yeah, but this is what it is, and it's logic. So he's arguing logic because that's what he understands. She's not talking about logic. She's talking about her feelings. Now, her emotional experience is her feelings. They're hers. They're not for us to dismiss or argue or say they don't exist. And I think I see so many fights where, couples just can't connect because he has to go, yeah, okay, right? I'm talking from a man, don't get upset, yeah? He's like, you're making a mountain out of a molehill. But to her emotional experience is like, this is a mountain to me. But you can't fix the problem until he puts his logic down and says, baby, tell me how you feel. And she says, I was so upset because of X, Y, Z. And you say, I totally understand how you feel. I'm sorry, I did X, Y, Z, and it made you feel like that. Not I'm sorry. Not like I'm sorry you feel upset, right? It's the worst thing to say. Don't say that. I'm sorry I did X, Y, Z, and that led you to feel, X, Y, Z. That's it.
Yeah.
That's what she wants to hear. Then you can pick up the logic thing later, another day. But like, it's these like disconnects through male and female psychology that lead to divorce.
Oh, honestly, do you know the couple of things, right? You said, which is so powerful. Have you ever seen the film White Men Can't Jump?
Yeah, I love that movie.
The glass of water scene.
Oh, which one's that?
Oh, so I think a lot of people, because it's not such a hugely popular movie nowadays, you don't see it anywhere. But like she wakes up in the middle of the night, right? They're in bed together, and she wakes up and she goes, "Honey, I'm thirsty." And he gets up and goes and get her a glass of water. And she starts talking about how, "Honey, I didn't ask you to get me a glass of water. I said I'm thirsty. I wanted sympathy. I want you to empathize with me." And it was like, and obviously it was just such an atypical scene. I put this on my Instagram like a couple of years back. And it is that when you got a woman who's going through something and he wants to solve the problem, he wants to use logic and he wants trying to fix your problem, and you just want to be heard. And this goes down to the soul love languages that I talk about, the TEASTs. So for women, when she's in that situation where she's talking about something, she wants your time and empathy, nothing else. She don't want fixing, she doesn't want anything, she just wants your time and empathy. Whereas obviously when guys are in that space, well, they want two things. They want appreciation and space. And when he pulls away or retracts, it's not him not loving you, it's him recalibrating, resetting. And you've just got to, like, as a woman, if you pull towards him when he needs a space, you're going to aggravate him and it's going to harm the relationship. So you've just got to understand when he needs a space, you need to show him appreciation at the time and let him pull away just for those moments. It doesn't mean he doesn't love you. Let him have his space, and it will just pay dividends in your relationship. 100%. It goes both ways, but it's just these polar opposites and misunderstanding that just create.
I'll give you
so much of the attention.
Another great one with someone that I know. Basically, goes on holiday with a girl, new relationship, and they go for dinner, and they're sitting at dinner, about to have dinner, and then one of the staff members says, "Oh, there's an issue with your room." Okay.
Yeah.
So he goes off. I'm going to sort this out. Right. This is totally unacceptable. He's there for about half an hour sorting this out, shouting at the manager, doing all these things, taking care of business, right? As a man. Comes back to the dinner table and she's upset and she's started eating. And he says, "Why have you ordered the food?" She said, "Oh, I don't know if you're coming back." And he says, "Well, of course I'm coming back. What's wrong with you? I'm going to come back. We're having dinner. Where else am I going to go?" Right? And they have this massive fallout, right? And he comes to me saying, "She's crazy, bro." I said, "Why is she crazy?" He said, "Well, she's like, making such a big deal. I went and sorted out. I don't know what she wants from me." I said, "Okay, what did you do?" "Well, I went to sort this out." "Did you need to do it right then?" "Well, maybe not." "No, you didn't need to. What you've done is you've left the woman you've newly got into a relationship with, who's trusted you to take her to Greece. She doesn't know anyone. She feels totally upset. You've basically abandoned her in this restaurant. Yeah. She feels so unsafe. Right, she's eating because she genuinely doesn't know whether you're going to come back or not. Right, and then instead of saying, "I'm so sorry, I shouldn't have gone. I'm sorry, what am I thinking?" and repairing it, what you did is you start saying she's crazy. And again, it's like two totally different, experiences. And for the guy to be able to understand that you don't just abandon someone in a foreign country to go and sort something out. It's like when I had the conversation, he said, "Oh my God, I'm an idiot." I said, "You're not an idiot. You just got to start seeing things from like her side."
Yeah. So true. So true. I hear countless examples like that. And it's just, again, if only we just understood each other's modalities a little bit better, then, we would negate a lot of problems, a lot of issues further down the line. But it's so hard. And I think, I've got to be honest, I think it's stubbornness and ego on both sides.
100%. And her, like for her, the worst thing I see, one of the patterns I see women do, is they assume he should know. He's not a mind reader.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Both people asking for information. Yeah. Ask for more information. Most communication is, there's obviously a disagreement, and a disagreement is a lack of, clarity, about each other's intentions. Yeah. And you're only going to understand someone's intentions if you ask their intentions, you communicate it, you don't assume it. So I think that just by, for any women watching this, like, stop assuming, because they say, if he loved me, he would know. That's the most dangerous thing you can do in a relationship.
Absolutely.
That's what you believe love is, but is that true? Because I would say love is actually asking, wanting to explore, wanting to understand your partner. That is love. I care enough to ask, and that's a different shift in belief there.
Yeah. Wow. See, ladies, he's going to make a great husband one day. Yeah, we're just going to find the other half now. That's it.
He likes to see me sweat here, doesn't he?
No, but it's been great chatting to you, man, and having you on for a part 2. And is anything we didn't talk about today, anything burning inside you that you wanted to got to get this message across?
I think we just finished it on the event on a Saturday. And as I said to you, it was one of the best events, if not the best event I've been to, right? And I've been to quite a few, multiple with clients over the past how many years. And it was such a great venue. Everything was perfect. And from everything that we both talked about today, if anyone listening to this podcast, if you just apply these things, like your whole experience would change, and you'd be able to have a different experience of yourself, of other people, of life, and just be open. And I would just say one last thing. I think I see so many women who are like, he doesn't show up, he doesn't do this. Listen, if a woman is completely open with a guy, he will take a bullet for her. He will die for you, right? And I know that women will say, yeah, but I'm close because of X, Y, Z. This dynamic just keeps you in, gridlock. We've got to break that dynamic, and that comes from the communication. So, I will hopefully see you. I'll hopefully be there at your next event, and so definitely come down, because honestly, it's gold dust. And the coaching you will get from Amit it will totally change your perspective, and that's what you want to do. If you're this again controversial, if you are single, for most people, there's a reason. There's a reason, and that's why you need coaching. To change your perspective, so you can work on yourself, so you can meet the right person.
So true.
Get some coaching.
Hell yeah. Likewise, get some coaching, especially if you need help in the gym as well. You got the main man over here who knows what he's doing. Honestly, it's been a real pleasure, bro. As always, been a real pleasure getting you back in the studio and talking about this stuff as well. I know it's been, and you've had some great success on social media recently as well, apart from having your account taken down, which is, mind you, that's a testament really that you're doing something right?
So we're going to have the second, we're going to get another post just going to cross the 1 million line. Hopefully in about 3 days it should cross. So
yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I say you just got to keep going, haven't you? Keep posting.
Yeah.
That's it. I have to admit, I haven't been posting much at all recently. I've got to get more content out there. I've been very lazy with my content recently.
We need more. We need to see this guy more.
Yeah. You just want to see my beautiful face online, don't you? No, it's been a real pleasure, man. Thank you so much. And thank you to everyone joining us for the Feel Inspired podcast. Oh, by the way, where can everyone find you?
Oh, you can find me on Instagram on the Meraki Movement, the Meraki Movement _
This is Rowan, by the way, as well, because I forgot to mention that earlier. Probably listened to the whole podcast. Who's this guy anyway? Like, who the hell is he? There you go. That's how you find him anyway. And thank you, everyone, for watching, and we'll see you on the next episode.